So Wadi Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, Bashim Rakakwatash, Brakathum. Peace and blessings, Ophelet, 144, and the rest of 1/3. Now, my apostles, elders, and bishops, and Malak and Ruel and GMS. Ephesians 2:8. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves. It is the gift of power, Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, not of works, lest any man should boast. Ephesians 2:8-11. For we are his workmanship, created in Yahushua unto good works, which power Yahweh Bashim Yahushua have before ordained that we should walk in them. Wherefore, remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, being wicked as hell, just like these 2/3 still are doing all their wickedness and filth. You 2/3 are just gone. We are called uncircumcision back in the day by that which is called the circumcision in the flesh, made by hands. That at that time ye were without Yahushua, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel. Come on, stupid ass brain. Come on, dumb ass body, garbage from this earth. And strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without power in the world. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua in the world. And without power in the world. But now in Yahushua, ye who sometimes were far off are made nigh by the blood of Yahushua. Now we're saved by the blood of Yahushua. Say it again. But now in Yahushua, ye who sometimes were far off, being a Gentile, being foul, being uncircumcision. That's right, being uncircumcised, were far off, are made nigh by the blood of who? Yahushua. So recognize what time it is in the battlefield. Understand. Because Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is the source, is the key. Thought you knew. Now we're going to get down. Hope the daggone camera don't slide like it did earlier. Nitty gritty.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rachachodash. I would also like to give double honors to my elders, bishops, and apostles of Great Millstone that do well. And I would like to say peace, safety, and salutations to the Lord's beloved elect, to the hopeful elect in 1/3. And out of Ratazah, this lesson is edifying and most importantly exhorting to the sincere sheep of Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Bahashem Rachachodash. And the Wada Abanawa Yahweh Bashim Yahushai Bahashem Rachachodash for giving me the inspiration to do this lesson. And I want to go into a quick lesson, okay, centered around the times that we're living in. And I have two different titles or thoughts that came to my mind. So I pretty much just compiled them into one, and I put a couple precepts. So the first thing I want to say, as it reads right here, wait until these people find out, which is to say their world is ending. Okay? So let's do like that. All right. Right there. So the first thought that came to my mind yesterday was, wait until these people find out their world is ending. Now, just watching, observing, measuring the times diligently within itself. One thing that I noticed within, the vexation of dealing with the days of Noah, understanding that these people are under gross darkness, and the Lord blessed us with the eyesight to see. So the flip side to that, watching and observing is, the next question is, well, how are these people going to react when they realize their world is ending? And when I mean world, I mean age, as it's recorded in Matthew 24, 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. Esau is the end of the world or end of the age. So that was my first thought that I was pondering upon. And then the second thought that came to that was, we're blessed to know this is not our rest. Okay, so this is a very high level thing that we're involved in. It's the most highest thing we as a creature, a chosen nation, can be involved in existence. Okay, not chasing a bag, not chasing a female, a bitch, not chasing your so-called dreams. Really, you're just chasing temptations. Okay, you're chasing something you're being tempted by, and that's what these people are caught up in. As the scriptures say, John wondered after the whore. So you could fall victim to the wondering after this place and admiration, dreams, goals, success stories, not knowing that this ultimately is just a NPC journey that's going to come abruptly to an end, and we cannot get caught up or fixated in that. You know, we're in the most important time now of completely locking in the spirit. Okay, let's read this. This is Micah 2:10. Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. So you have to understand that, I'll just even use this as something simple because it's weaponized against us here is even a woman, because the scriptures refer to a woman as a pillar of rest. And that's our, as they would say, our God-given right. But, okay, the time that we are in, we cannot use simplicity with a precept, because the scriptures say with all thy getting, you're supposed to get understanding. So yes, we're supposed to be fruitful and multiply. Yes, it's, there's this, and yes, it's lawful. But with the times that we're in, the Lord, through, depending on your walk, the Lord will have you refrain, like the scripture says in Ecclesiastes. So pretty much what I'm exhorting right now is being aware of what can occupy your time while you are measuring the time diligently in itself. And you have to understand that it is a blessing for us to know that this is not our rest, even while you are in the midst of people carrying themselves in a restful manner. And I'm using the woman as a focal point because that is her nature. But we, as a hopeful elect, that's what separates us even from our own people, is the spiritual discernment that the Lord has given us, so that we understand what spirit we should be in. Because immediately what come to my mind is John. I do want to get that word rest. So let me go over here. Let's go to John 4. I haven't read this in a while. It's one of my favorite precepts. Before I get that, Ephesians 2:8, verse of the day. For by grace are ye saved through faith, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of Yahweh. See, so at the end of the day, if we're of the elect, we are of the elect. But what we have learned is, within this patiently waiting, desperately waiting, please bring it to pass, spirit. We also understand that we're seeking the Lord 10 times more while he may be found. And you gotta appreciate, the spirit when the Lord puts that fire under your arse. The Lord puts that fire under your ass, and you got to realize that, because you know that this place is ended. The people around you don't. So they're supposed to be chilling. They're supposed to be just fucking walking in the park. They're supposed to be looking at years from now. This is the spirit that they're supposed to be doing. Now, real quick, I just want to get right here. Okay. So that's what they are doing. That's what these humans are doing, and it's a beautiful thing to see, the matrimony, as they would say. It's a beautiful thing to see the relationship, man, woman, child, family. Yeah, all those things are great, but not in fucking prison. Okay, shit, I believe Tupac was born in prison. But that's my point. Like, okay, yeah, these things are great, but not where we're at right now, because you got to be careful of that worldly spirit, that can jump upon you. So we got to continue to thank the Lord, man. I'm so thankful I can see. I'm so thankful, I'm not just caught up, in my own endeavors on a day-to-day, and now I'm focused on getting this done so I get the promotion. We do what we got to do, but at the end of the day, I'm only fucking doing what I got to do because I got to do this because I'm waiting to leave. That's right. We got to maintain. That's right. We got to maintain. That's right. So how much more these people that are around you that actually believe that what they're doing will maintain them? It's going to be panda-fucking-monium, okay? It's going to be pandemonium. The families, the friends, the married couples, the goal-oriented women, the career-driven, individuals, the power couples. When these fucking people find out that their world that they have fallen in love with so much and devoted themselves to, they're going to go, as they would say, batshit crazy. And we are being put through rigorous spiritual training to not be attached to temporal, and it's a blessing because we're in a true hour. So our occupation is the business of the Father. This is John 4. And just like a job, they gonna let your ass go, man. Okay, so that's real heavy on my spirit too. And there be days, shit, I was tired today. My flesh was tired. I was languishing. I'm like, damn, I just fucking feel heavier than normal. And it's like, you got to fight through that though. You got to fucking fight, man. John 4:22. But the hour cometh. Matter of fact, the Spirit said 22. Let's start there. This is Yahushua speaking to a heathen woman at the well. Okay, just like a heathen Christian woman today that like Jake, Which shout out to y'all, but y'all ain't got the truth. It says, ye worship, ye know not what exactly. Girl, you don't know what the fuck you worship. Shut up. See? We got to correct people. All right? It says, we know what we worship. Exactly. We know prophecy. We know this ain't our rest. We have no continuing city, but we seek when to come. We, okay? And I'm telling you, I've been around people where, like even right now, I left work for lunch, and my coworker, he's online looking at houses. And why? Because he's got the wife. The wife wants to get a house. And it's like, when you follow these people or you let these people lead, they will lead you to a fucking path of destitute and destruction, man. Okay? Especially the woman. All right? The woman, the woman is not set up, to be programmed, to be your bro and exhort you to do the work. So even in this walk, you have to be a man of the Lord, even amongst your own circle outside the brotherhood, because you have a duty, okay? You have a job to do, all right? And it's up to us continually, constantly to be aware of that job and what we're required to do before we even want to do whatever the fuck we think we want to do. We know this shit is on its way out. There's a balance to everything, but the main thing is doing the work, serving the Lord, seeking him while he may be found. Look at that beautiful crow just flew in front of me. I'm in a little bit of nature. Jake needed to escape from society for a minute, man. That's another thing too, brothers. You need to fucking step away, man. Step away. Step away. Because you could get caught up in a self-devoted, loyal, always there, always answering, always texting spirit too. You got to be aware of these things, man. We got to be aware of these things right now, man, lest you get caught unaware. Because it's one thing, I know, but it's another when you got to fucking deal with that demon if the Lord deems it fit to make you battle. It says, we know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews, and Yahushua is correcting this woman. Salvation is only for the nation of Israel, in so much that you got Israel trying to stay here. They're in the spirit of staying here, making it work, making it last, and I get this, the struggle story spirit, but this is why it's a new day, okay? But that new day, it starts with who? The hopeful, elect Israelite man, okay? So when these people start finding out, even when they start actually finding out, when these people around you start finding out, when that realization comes, that's why Isaiah 4:1 is so easy to see. The reason why you don't got women chasing you down or appreciating, the things you can do or the knowledge you have, maybe even the physique you got, your charisma. You know why, brothers? Because these fucking women are being blocked to see that their temporal bullshit, vain world is getting ready to end. They don't know that. Because when they do, get ready, brothers. Get ready. It says, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers, shall worship the Father in spirit and truth. And that's a cut too, even to these so-called Christians. Going back to my title, wait till these Christians find out their world is ended. We could spin it. Wait till these Americans find out their world's ended. Wait till the fucking Pookie and niggas in the hood find out their world's ended. Wait till these OnlyFans bitches find out their world is ended. Wait till your fucking proud ass cocky coworkers find out their world is ended. You're gonna see a different version of people, man. And it's been on my spirit to keep pushing that. Because right now, the pride of life got people's characteristics and personalities acting real different. See, and that's why we're blessed to know. We're blessed to know, so we're not caught up, But it's also my spirit to exhort. There's still a demons out here trying to constantly still pull you away, or kind of just keep you chilling, or nah man, we gotta be on our up and up. It says, but the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. So we are blessed to know that the Father, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, is actually seeking for his people to see who's worshiping me, who's repentant to me, who's diligently seeking me, and who's settled on their leaves, who's chilling. Because you got to be careful of that I'll do a lesson tomorrow spirit too. Going back to my point I was making earlier, I took a lunch, and it's been a few times lately where it'd be like this, the flesh be like, yeah, man, you did a lesson yesterday, so you could chill, and nah, man, I sit there and I set my prayers up, and then boom, the Yahweh inspires me with a talking topic. So we have to constantly strive for that, man. It says Yahweh is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. See? And that's what it's about. It's about us. It's about us, okay? It's about us of the hopeful elect while we are waiting, okay, for the destruction to take place, showing in the spirit that our mind is towards Yahweh Shemal Shai, because you're not going to be able to do a lesson every day. You may not be able to be amongst your brothers every day. There's a lot of things you're not going to be able to do every day. But be mindful of the things that you can do every day and what you are doing every day. Because the rest of these people are doing that business as usual shit, okay? While we are sitting here being thankful that we know this place is ending, but we still have a job to do. This is 2 Ezra 8 and 50, for many great miseries, see? So, we're literally waiting on the flip of the switch. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride. Okay, so we are surrounded by people that have no idea that their little temporal world is ending, and on top of that, they're walking with great pride in the midst of their rulership on its last grain of the hourglass that the Lord gave them. So you got to really, really think about these things. You got to think about how they're going to react when, war is declared. You got to think how they're going to react when the draft is implemented. How are they going to react when the MOTB? How are they going to react in a famine? How are they going to react when the power goes out? How are they going to react when there's no water? How are they going to react when there's martial law? How are they going to react when they see women and children being put to death? How are they going to react when military is in the street? How are they going to deal with this? Versus how we are going to endure this, knowing it. Because what's it say? Wisdom and knowledge. I have to get it. We can quote it, but we got to get it. And I still got to get that word rest. Just keep thanking the Lord, man. Even in your temptations, even in your low points, you got to thank the Lord, man. Because it can always be worse. This is Isaiah, I don't know why it came on my mind. You could be in fucking IUIC, you know what I mean? You done wifed up that fucking end up because she's got her head wrap of fringes. You got all these fucking babies running around. You see what I'm saying? You could be in a really worse position. So what's on my spirit is to express, brothers, it's like, hey, don't be too deep in this shit, man. Don't get too deep in this shit, And sometimes the Lord will have it, speaking as personal testimony, sometimes the Lord will have you get too deep in some shit just so it's stripped from you. So you can get stronger, man. Okay? So brothers, be very, very mindful, man. Be very, very mindful, bro. Isaiah 33 and 6, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time. See? Remember Lot's wife. Remember the days of Noah. Remember the temptation. Remember how tricky Satan is. It says, because now is the highest time of us being tempted and throwing, lust at us, incontinencies in the air, asses everywhere. I've actually have been thanking the Lord for the solitude He's given me, because there's times where you might not want to be, but it's best if you are. Because I'll say this too, brothers. What we know, the knowledge we have, the future that we know is getting ready to come to pass, you know, obviously you watch your gates your mouth with her in the bosom, but it gets to the point that the times we in, it ain't even fucking worth it having her in your bosom, bro. You know what I'm saying? This is how real what times we're in, man. This is how real it is. And it's beautiful to know that. It's beautiful to know that, man. And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Shemel Shai is his treasure. So we are fearing the Lord. You know, not to the point where you bug out, but to the point to know, hey, I gotta go do this. Hey, what Lena's cousin, what did he say? Hey, I gotta go handle my business. But look, if a nigga in the world is that hell bent on his devotion to what he's been called into, how much more us? All right. So the Spirit is telling us, hey, you gotta tell people in your circle, no. You see, there's people around us that don't know that this world is ended. Even if you said it to them. Majority of people that look at us just fucking in one ear and out the other, you know, they're not set up to receive this information. Okay, the Lord blessed us to receive it and bear it. Okay, like our cross. Oh. See? And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy time and strength of salvation. The fear of Yahweh Shemel Shai is his treasure. Now, let me get real quick, since I still got Micah, then I got to jet back. Oh, excuse me. This is right here. I just want to see what that word rest means. Resting place, quietness. Yeah, you have no spiritual rest here. You know, you might get a little pockets of physical rest, and then you got to be aware of that because you don't want to be too caught up in that. You know, like, damn, man, it's this flesh be flashing. All right, let's go to Luke 21, and that's the lesson. You know, and everything's discretion, everything is discernment. You know, and everybody's walk is different. It's just the fact that the Holy Spirit is exhorting us. You know, it's like spiritual smelling salt. You know, constantly keeping us in the up and up on the okay, yup. You know, like in that boxer listening to the corner. Luke 21 and this is Luke 21 and 25. It says, and there shall be signs in the sun and in the moon and in the stars and upon the earth distress of nations. So these people are going to be in distress because their current world that they have found pockets in, peace in, rest in, enjoyability in is now ending. Okay, and it says with perplexity and the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear. See, because they're not. This world is not ready for the will of the Lord to take place on the earth. Let us make man in our image. You know, that's as it is in heaven. Let it be done on earth. Well, spiritual power. You know, this whole earth is just completely carnal. You know, it's just completely in the flesh. So the creature is going to bug out when it sees the Maker's spiritual creation enter this realm and gather the elect out of it. You know, and it says, men's hearts failing them for fear. And looking after, read this, it says, and looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Okay? So these people's world is getting ready to end. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with great power and great glory. See? So you got to constantly spiritually remind yourself, man. You know? We're surrounded by fucking humans that are set up to find or to burrow their body in some kind of fucking place of rest, you know? But that's their nature. They're supposed to be doing this. They're supposed to be acting like this, not us. They're supposed to carry themselves like this, not us. Okay? It's they're supposed to find a fucking woman to settle down with and get married, not us. And you know what I mean when I say that. You brothers in the spirit, you know what I mean when I say that. Because there's a spirit that comes with the relationship even between a man and a woman because of the wine of Babylon. And I'll leave it there. That's all it is. Okay? We can have things too. We just exclude the wine of Babylon in the midst of it. It says, and when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. See? So that's the difference between us and them. Their world ending, our world beginning. That's right. Their age ending, our age beginning. Okay, you got to be constantly, continually mindful of these things. Now. All right, so I just want to do a real quick lesson on that. I pray it was edifying. With that being said, shalom.
Shalom. That's right. To the next one.